And now, live in studio, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes.
Yes, here we are again, another day committed to picking a fight with the mainstream media, always providing you the timely truth, centered around real estate, credit, finance, and estate, tax planning, and so much more. Lots of ways that we can help you win here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. And our number one goals remain the same. We're going to educate, entertain, enlighten, but most importantly, we want to engage with you so that we can help you win.
The only thing I'm addicted to right now is
And
winning.
we want you to save our hotline number in your phone. At some point, you're going to need it. 813-670-7372.
You used to call me on my cell phone.
813-670-7372. That's our consumer advocate hotline number. You can call or text that line anytime. And also, bookmark our website, consumerqb.com. A plethora of information available for you on our website at consumerqb.com. We want to help you win in any marketplace. In studio today, attorney Richard Alexander. Welcome in, sir.
Thank you, Brandon. I love the way you say my name, man. So.
Yeah.
Pretty
yeah,
cool.
man. Yeah, it's great to have you in, and it's awesome to talk about these different things happening in the legal space. We got the legal brain in the house here today, so a lot of things happening in the law space. The big one is the texting and driving rule that just started. Big stuff happening there. What else do you want to talk about today?
Actually, I do want to talk about some of the laws that went into effect July 1st, because that was the big one. Okay. Everybody was curious about that. As a matter of fact, I made that announcement at the Chamber of Commerce I belong to, and people applauded.
Yeah.
So I think there was, I think a lot of people were just fed up that so many people were texting and driving, and the legislation listened.
Yeah.
And I don't know, however, and we've talked about this before, how the law enforcement is going to enforce that law.
Yeah, that's interesting when you think about it. They talk about minivans, and I saw somebody posting online. They said, "Oh, they should get in one of the big jacked up trucks so they can see down into the, into the vehicles."
Well, what I wanted to do was I wanted to find something from somebody, in authority as to going on the record as to how their police officers are going to handle it. And
right.
I did find somebody, Yolanda Fernandez. I don't know if you know of her. She's a spokesperson for the St. Petersburg Police Department.
Okay.
And she has gone on the record as to how her law enforcement officers are going to enforce this law.
Interesting.
So are you ready for what she said on the record?
I like it. Let's do it.
She said that since it's now a primary offense, which means law enforcement doesn't need any other reason to pull you over other than they believe you are texting and driving. She said law enforcement is going to pull you over, and then they're going to advise you of your right not to turn over the cell phone.
Wow.
And if you say no, the traffic stop ends, and they have to let you go on your way.
Interesting.
So, again, this is why I've been talking about this law. This is a law with no teeth. Because it's almost not enforceable.
That's interesting. So basically, if I'm reading into that, it says, hey, I wasn't texting, and then you can just say, sorry, I'm not giving you my phone.
Right, and they have to advise you don't have to turn over your phone because of the recent U.S. Supreme Court ruling that to get into a phone, you need a warrant.
Yeah.
And so what they're saying is that you have to tell the person you just pulled over that you don't have to turn over your phone to me. With that in mind, can I see your cell phone?
Wow.
No. Thank you very much. Please go on your way.
So the law that has no teeth. Wow.
I've always said, how are they going to enforce this, given the recent U.S. Supreme Court ruling on warrants for getting into the cell phone?
Yeah.
I don't know how they're going to do that. Oh, and there are two exceptions, by the way. You can text at a stop sign or a red light.
Good. Okay. Yeah, I saw somebody ranting online saying, well, I'm in sales, or I've worked, and I do a lot of my business on the road at stop signs or at red lights. And, if they see me in my hand with this phone in my hand, and, what if I'm messing with my GPS trying to get to a location? Right. So there's a lot of, like you said, it's going to be hard to enforce. And who knows if they were actually texting or just trying to get their coordinates right on their GPS.
Well, I was talking about this with your staff earlier. This is a way of legislating behavior. Do you remember when no one had to wear a seatbelt? It wasn't the law.
Right.
And then they, created a law that you had to wear your seatbelt.
Right.
And then everybody fought it, tooth and nail. I don't want to wear my seatbelt. My hands on the steering wheel, that'll stop the G-forces.
Yeah.
Right. Like the guy that has the hand on holding the mattress on the top of the car.
Yeah, yeah.
He's stronger than G-forces of physics. He's stronger than that. So
That's crazy.
Yeah. What happened now is we all put our seatbelt on. As a matter of fact, not only us, but we insist our passengers put it on as well. So it's a way to legislate behavior. And eventually, where Florida's going to go. They're going to go to hands-free cell phone use, like New Jersey. I know New Jersey is very strict about, cell phone use. As a matter of fact, you can't pump your own gas in New Jersey.
Really?
No, you cannot. I didn't know that until I actually went to visit a friend of mine, and he didn't get out of the car. And I said, "You're going to let him pump your own gas?" He goes, "You can't. You can't pump your own gas."
So the attendants have to do it now?
Correct.
Wow, interesting. What's the purpose of that?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Static electricity or something?
Maybe drive-offs. I don't know. I don't know what the intent behind it. I'm not sure.
Some of the Northeast, man, some of their rules are that. Maybe that's why. And then I saw another statistic a friend of mine posted online. It was the top 20 states that people are moving from, and New York was number one with over.
Moving from, yes.
Moving from to Florida, Florida from, and I think number 2 was Pennsylvania, which I thought was a little bit. I didn't realize that either.
Did you read about the governor of New York saying that people that we need to stay in the city, like people that are very well off, wealthy people, millionaires, they're moving out.
Wow.
Because of our tax rate.
Sure.
Okay. Gee, you could solve that,
Yeah.
But this is the governor saying that. I mean, it's incredible.
Yeah. Same thing with California. Jerry Brown. They're taxing people to death. That the gasoline tax is up again.
You just posted that.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
So people are leaving in droves to California. They're looking for great places to develop a business, live, work, and play. Tampa Bay, the greater Tampa Bay area, Palm Harbor, Sarasota, Bradenton. Even when you look at this Bay Area, there's just so much attracting people here, and man, it's just a great place to be.
Well, several athletes have stated that one of the reasons they find Florida is so attractive is, number one, the cost of living and no state income tax.
Absolutely.
So they can actually take less because, in essence, they're making more.
That's right. Yeah. So we just did a shoot for our other TV show that we're involved with called the American Dream television show, which is Apple, Amazon, Roku, Sony, a bunch of other hot spots on TV like that. But we went downtown and we did the helicopter tour. Took a nice tour over town. So we went through on the way back. He's like, "Yeah, you want to drive by Jeter's house, Derek Jeter, the retired baseball player." Speaking of people moving from New York to Tampa Bay, and man, what a monstrous house he built. But but it's a perfect metaphor for what we're talking about here. People looking to maximize their retirement and keep that money flowing versus giving it away to these states or bureaucratic governments that they want to tax people to death and tell them what to do with every single turn.
And it's going to go to waste. I mean, that history dictates that it's going to go to waste.
Yeah. So it's interesting. We're talking with attorney Richard Alexander here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, and trustalexanderlaw.com is the best website for you.
Yes, absolutely.
Trustalexanderlaw.com is his website. He's been on multiple news networks as well, being spoken with as a legal analyst as well, Fox 13 and some of the others. But today we wanted to talk a little bit about things affecting people in Tampa Bay. So we talked about the driver, the texting and driving. That's just, to me, it's interesting. Now, the other big point of that is you talked about it's a primary offense.
Yeah.
Now, if they pull them over for texting and they smell marijuana or something like that, or maybe an open beverage, does that open that whole Pandora box up?
You just described probable cause. You don't need probable cause for a traffic citation. For a traffic stop, you need something called reasonable suspicion, which is actually one step below probable cause.
Okay.
So as light a burden as probable cause is, reasonable suspicion is even lower than that.
Wow.
So you pull somebody over for that, and then if you find something else for probable cause, yeah, absolutely, that justifies further investigation, further detention.
Wow.
Okay, because traffic stops you're only supposed to hold somebody from the traffic stop for as long as it takes to write a citation, in essence.
To process the ticket, et cetera,
Correct.
run the tags.
Correct.
Yeah. Wow. It's so that opens up the door. They smell marijuana in the car. Now, do they have to ask you to search the car, or at that point are they able to search the car because they smell it?
Well, it's one of the exceptions to a warrant. Is you have the highest protection under the Fourth Amendment in your house. That's the highest afforded protection.
Right.
That's the highest degree of expectation of privacy.
Yeah.
Next is your
Yeah.
person.
Yeah.
Third is your car. Mm-hmm. But yeah, if they smell marijuana, probable cause, that gives them further, basis to detain you. And remember we talked about this. I had a client that just let FHP get into the trunk of their car.
Yeah, you said that,
right?
yeah.
And generally people just, I don't know what it is, but I've seen this both from a prosecutor and as a defense attorney. People have this overwhelming need to purge.
Yeah.
And they will confess to some of the most heinous things.
Oh my goodness.
And eventually, they'll say, yeah, I got a little bit of weed on me.
To get it off their chest, right?
It's no big deal. I mean, he's not going to do anything about it. They'll do something about it.
Yeah, that's what they're looking for.
Yeah, exactly.
When we come back, I want to talk to you about, I want to ask you about the red flag law as well, the red flag rule, I believe it is, because you talk about house, protecting your house. We have Florida Firearms on the show from time to time as well. Thomas King, one of our favorite expert contributors on the show. I want to talk to you about that. So we're talking a lot about legal things, ways that you can live a better life here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Attorney Richard Alexander here in studio with me, and we're going to be one-on-one today's show, talking a lot about legal and the law and things like that, things happening in the Tampa Bay market and beyond. So stay with us right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
Thanks for listening to my daddy's show. For more information, go to consumerqb.com.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com.
This is the Cannabis Podcast, powered by True Leaf on Radio Influence. It's an inside look and the scientific facts in and around the world of medical cannabis. Now, here is your host, Ian Beckles.
He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. You're listening to the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
Welcome back. Brandon Rhymes here, Consumer Quarterback Show, powered by the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty, helping you win in your negotiations, buying, selling, or investing. We're a top 1% realtor in the United States. We'd love to help you with your real estate needs. My wife and I own and operate the team, and we have a great team of agents, 12 agents on our team now, growing and setting records. So we're really excited as the market's kind of contracting and changing, shifting from a seller's market to a buyer's market. We're doing some really unique things to help our sellers maximize the exposure on the sale of their real estate properties. Got a hot property here in Odessa. This is one of our property's favorite listings right now, 12610 Port Marnock Drive. Now, this one is in Odessa. It's in a gated community, golf course community, and Fabre Frameworks supplied some beautiful photography shots here, drone shots of the Turnberry at the Eagles, and this home sits on one of the best lots with water views in the front and back. It's got a great floor plan, beautiful pool and spa area, center island, granite countertops, too many upgrades to list here. But check out PlatinumMVPTeam.com and check out our property on Port Marnock Drive in Odessa, listed at over $500,000, just over $500,000. Beautiful property, well worth it, and a great opportunity here in beautiful Tampa Bay. We also have another hot property that we just listed here. This one is at 7519 Pier Road in Port Richey. This is kind of close to that new Port Richey area, and it is a great opportunity for a car lot or potentially rezoning it and making townhouses right here. It's close to the all that new construction that's on the river in New Port Richey there. They've got the Hooters and all the other stuff there. Beautiful property, great opportunity here. Check out PlatinumMVPTeam.com. PlatinumMVPTeam.com. And I want to give a heartfelt shout out to the Bilmar Beach Resort over on Treasure Island, our official hotel partner. They actually donated to our charitable auction last week that we had for Children's Cancer Center, and we raised a good amount of money for Children's Cancer Center at our event last week, and the Bilmar Beach Resort was a good part of that. So filled with fantastic and generous amenities to make your vacation that much more special. The Bilmar Beach Resort over on Treasure Island, one of the best destinations in Treasure Island for many years, and they've got 2 pools on site, Sloppy Joe's restaurant. They got a great beach, a long beach. It's a great opportunity. Get the family, drive down, hang out, give Clyde Smith, he's the general manager, give Clyde Smith a call, let him know the real estate quarterback sent you, and take him up on special offers and incentives just by mentioning that you're a fan of the Consumer Quarterback Show. And we are back here in studio. Richard Alexander's in the house, attorney Richard Alexander, that is. And glad to have you back in here, Richard. And I love when you come in. We talk about these different updates, things happening in the legal space out there. So we got the texting and driving kind of covered here today. What's next? What do you think we should talk about in terms of what you're seeing out there?
Well, there are other laws that went into effect on July 1st. That's the big one. Everybody was concerned about that. Like I said, it drew applause when I mentioned it at the Chamber of Commerce. The other ones I wanted to talk about, there's one that is near and true to my heart as an educator. Not everybody needs to go to college and rack up these insane debts.
Right.
There's going to be there's a law now to provide more money for vocational technical guidance and expertise at the local high schools. Because, again, not everybody needs to go to college.
That's a good one.
And that's an excellent one. We need welders. We need people that are highly skilled and are able to contribute to society in that capacity.
Yeah.
I know people that have skills, and they're doing very well.
Yeah.
And they don't have one credit in college.
They're on demand, man. These plumbers, electricians. Here's a big one. The home audio and putting in security systems, those running the wires, applying that that's a big need. And my uncle, Joe Catano, he was on the school board in the Hillsborough County. He was on the school board, and that was his big push. Even back in the 90s and early 2000s, he was pushing for more of those vocational style schools like you just mentioned.
Right, yeah, I know. Listen, it's a great idea. It's long time coming. I think I just saw a post by Will Smith, who said that he's going to create an app with another co-founder to help people, particularly kids, high school kids, appreciate finances and how to deal with finances, and something as simple as writing a check or how to take out a loan. I thought, my God, man, what?
Yeah,
we do need to do that.
Absolutely. Credit, people don't understand credit. You go through school, you start spending money, you get a couple credit cards, you start building up some credit, but how do you actually maximize your credit?
Well, you and I both went to USF, and I remember that they had outside, the buildings, like the social behavioral sciences, the engineering building. They had people there ready to sign you up to get a credit card.
Yeah.
They had it on the table, sign your name, and boom, next thing you know, you get a credit card.
Yeah, and you get a T-shirt.
And you get a T-shirt or a Frisbee, something like that.
Frisbee.
Right. Yeah, it was it was like instant credit, man. And then all of a sudden you realize, I got to pay that back?
Yeah.
I didn't know that was part of the deal. Yeah, it's part of the deal.
And then sometimes it's a 19%, 22% rate.
If you're lucky, yeah.
Yeah. So it's interesting when you look at it, but that's a great point. Is more of a focus from education onto those types of trades, as you mentioned. Welders,
Absolutely.
Welders are going to be big demand.
Aviation. How about aviation?
Yeah.
Alternative forms of medicine. There's a lot of different things. Yeah, construction. Mm-hmm. Those are all different types of vocations that you don't need to incur these massive amount of debts getting a 4-year degree.
Yeah, that's right. And there's a lot of these social media gurus, internet marketing guys that are really, saying, "Oh, don't go to school, don't go to college." It's different for each person.
Absolutely, no question.
Like it's an interesting, when you look at the dynamics of how things have changed, and yes, it does cost a lot more money. So number one, I say, if you can stay in state, that's going to save you a lot of money versus going across the border and going into, Georgia or New York or wherever. It costs you a lot more money for out-of-state tuition, and then because a lot of it really is the room and board. A lot of the cost comes down to just your daily living.
Yeah, I remember when I went to law school, my buddy and I, we used to be astounded at what the study guides and the textbooks would cost.
Yeah,
we're talking into the thousands per semester.
Unbelievable.
Just to buy a study guide so I can understand the book that I don't understand.
Yeah,
it was insane.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because those things really help, man. When you buy those additional supplements,
right.
those things really help when it comes down to that. So we're talking with attorney Richard Alexander here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. TrustAlexanderLaw.com is his website. And when it comes to law, I think a lot of people are confused out there. They see a lot of these commercials or different things. A lot of these attorneys run advertisements, but they don't actually go to court and go into the law room or the courtroom and actually practice law that way. They practice from working negotiations and trying to get settlements. But you see a lot of that out there, don't you?
See, this is one of my pet peeves. It really is. And there's a local law firm that spends a lot of money on billboards that I'm not going to name, but they've gone on the record as saying that they settle cases. They're not going to trial.
Yeah.
They're more than happy with settling cases.
Wow.
And I thought, why would you say that in the local newspaper?
Yeah.
And again, they're big in the Tampa Bay area.
Yeah.
They're a billboard firm. Let's just leave it at that. And that makes no sense to me. It really doesn't. Because, the insurance companies, they're not idiots.
Right.
They're going to hire some really serious trial lawyers to defend State Farm, defend Geico, defend Progressive. I mean, they're not idiots. Mm-hmm. They know who's going to settle.
Yeah.
And they're aware of that. They know if they can cut you under as far as policy limits on any type of any type of settlement.
Yeah.
They're aware of it. They know who the trial lawyers are. They know who they have to be worried about.
Yeah, man. It's interesting. It's an interesting play. So your focus, talk to our listeners about your focus and how you might be able to help them. We got a lot of business owners out there, 1380 The Biz, the Wall Street Business Network, got our weekend show on 102.5 The Bone, Apple TV, Amazon, Roku. Who is your ideal client? Who are you looking to talk to?
Well, obviously, I mean, I talk about this all the time, but I've chosen the two, disciplines in law in which I don't always see people at their best.
Right.
Either they've been involved in a motor vehicle accident, slip and fall, and we see people a lot that are in pain. I mean, they're hurting.
Yes.
That's tough because you cannot tell the client they're going to get better because you never know with a physical ailment. There's not an X-ray or an MRI in the world that's going to show a bad back.
Right.
If your back hurts, your back hurts. Period.
Absolutely.
And there's not an X-ray or MRI machine in the world that's going to say, well, your back doesn't hurt. No, I know it hurts. I'm when I'm getting out of bed, I'm in trouble. Okay, I feel like a 100-year-old man trying to get out of bed. And the other part about it is criminal defense.
Mm-hmm.
So we do personal injury criminal defense, and criminal defense is a whole different animal. There's no other area of law like it. The attorney is unique to the client more so than any other field of law. If we want to get out of a case, for instance, it better be something like you and the client are coming to blows.
Yeah.
Because the judge will not let you out of a criminal case.
Wow.
Because that's how unique an attorney is to his client in the criminal law.
Yeah.
So I love the criminal law process. I've been involved with it since I graduated law school in the criminal justice system.
It's a lot on the line.
Yeah, it really is going to Vegas, man. It's high stakes poker.
Yeah.
Because you're really talking about someone's liberty.
Yeah. That's
And-
tough, man.
Yeah, it's incredible. I'm a historian, and I love learning about the founding fathers. And this was one of the most important things that 4 of the 10 amendments in the Bill of Rights
Yeah.
are directly to the accused.
Wow, I like that.
So,
I want to ask you more on the other side of more about being a historian and also an educator and how that plays into your business. And stay with us right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. When we come back, our feel good story of the day: nonprofit organization plants 250 million trees. Right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, ConsumerQB.com.
Hey, I'm Ken Shamrock, and you're here with Consumer Quarterback Show. And I say, Brandon Rhymes, knock out your competition.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at ConsumerQB.com.
This is the Cannabis Podcast, powered by True Leaf on Radio Influence. It's an inside look and the scientific facts in and around the world of medical cannabis. Now, here is your host, Ian Beckles.
He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. listening to the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, online at consumerqb.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-670-7372.
Welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. Brandon Rhymes here, your host of the Consumer Quarterback Show, powered by the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. Also a published author and professional speaker. Check out our book on Amazon, Become the MVP in Your Industry by Surfing the Radio Waves. It's kind of the prequel to our company that we launched with our new business partner, Ken Shamrock, the ultimate fighting champion. Ken Shamrock, UFC Hall of Famer and WWE legend, WWF legend as well, wrestler. But it's the Business Growth Celebrity Academy. We are teaching you how to start your own show, grow your micro celebrity, build wealth, build personal brand, and increase your status. Anyone can become a micro celebrity. It's easy. Check out bgca.co for more information on that. bgca.co. We got webinars running there and hosted daily. So great webinars to teach you how to grow your sphere of influence and make more money. Grow your celebrity. And we're back here in studio helping you win. We got attorney Richard Alexander in the house. We're talking about legal aspects of business and finance, things happening out there. And kind of wanted to shift gears, talk a little bit about you just said you're a historian. And,
Yes.
and that's very cool. I highly respect that. And also an educator.
Yes.
So that's really cool. I think that's a cool part of your overall, what you're offering out there.
Look, I've been blessed. I really have. And, I've been very fortunate to I've been a teacher for 20 years and just 2 years shy of practicing law.
Wow.
And honestly, if I could find, financially how I could make that work, where I could be a full-time teacher at the collegiate level,
Yep.
I would do that in a heartbeat.
That's cool.
The sense of fulfillment is unlike anything I've ever experienced before.
Yeah.
And, I'm always on when I'm up front lecturing
Yep.
or, teaching or something like that. I mean, we create the environment to learn.
Yeah.
And the responsibility of being able to award academic credit. Mm-hmm. I don't take that lightly.
Right.
And, there's a lot of responsibility, a lot of obligation. The deans of the schools I've worked for or currently working for have been awesome to me.
That's cool.
And, I just say I've been blessed that I've been able to do that.
What's one of your most gratifying stories or things that you've done when you're helping people, just helping them through that educational process? Because, and I kind of preface that with, growing up, I remember the classes that I liked the most were the teachers that I liked the most. The classes that I did the best at were the teachers that I liked the most, or at least, helped me the most, helped me succeed. So what would be like something that stands out for you?
Actually, it just happened. It was Saturday. We just had our graduation at Everglades.
Cool.
And I'm not kidding. This is going to sound like a cliche, Brandon, but it's not. To see those people that have been my students, and now the cap and gown, and that moment of matriculation where you move the tassel from the right to the left.
Yeah.
When that happens, and I went, oh my God, he was in my class.
Yeah.
And now here he is graduating with a bachelor's.
That's cool, man.
I'm not kidding, man. That I get choked up about
That's
that.
gratifying.
It's a moment, man. I mean, it's a big moment.
Yeah.
You got to ask yourself, what are the great moments in one's life? Having a child, maybe buying your first house, your first car,
Yep.
Your first kiss. But when you graduate from college,
Yep.
that's a big deal.
Yeah, it is.
That's the one time you're going to do that. Everything else is a graduate degree, but you're always your undergrad. You're never your graduate school.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, true.
Right? If you graduated from Georgia, you're a bulldog.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can go get your graduate degree at Harvard, it doesn't matter. You're not a graduate from Harvard.
Yeah.
So it's an amazing moment, man. I know a lot of the other faculty feel the same way when we see our students graduating.
Yeah.
The cap and gown and the tassels and everything. I mean, they bring their family screams, they take pictures.
Yeah.
They're high-fiving their co-students. It's a great experience, man.
Yeah.
I really just find hard words to describe that moment.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's, I did a little bit of football coaching when I first graduated college, and I was kind of still in South Florida. But yeah, I know what you mean. Like when you teach them, the technique, and then they actually do the bump and I was teaching defensive backs, and they actually do the bump and run technique, and then they get an interception, and then then they come to the sideline. You're like, yeah, you did your form, it worked, right? It paid off.
That's your interception,
right?
That's your bump and run.
Sure.
Really, it's you see the immediate cause and effect.
That's right.
And there's nothing like it.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, and it speaks volumes too about your personality, wanting to give back, wanting to help people, helping that younger generation. I think as we age, we grow into that statesman mentality where we want to be more of a statesman and help people.
That's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, I think.
See, it's funny. You said statesman. I use the word ambassador.
Yeah.
I always say I'm an ambassador for my university.
Yeah, absolutely.
So anything I do or say reflects on the school.
Big time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. That's a good way to carry yourself too.
Absolutely, no question.
Especially if you're maybe a younger listener out there, somebody listening, just think about the way you carry yourself on a daily basis. The true test of character. They say again, it's another one of these cliches, but it's what you do when no one's looking.
No one's looking. That's correct.
Yeah. So those are the things that you want to focus on. Let's talk about this. So interesting. I was on Treasury.gov the other day, and I was looking at Treasury announces IRS integrated modernization business plan promoting cost efficiency, improved taxpayer service, and protection. So interesting how we're going to be investing a lot of money here. It says, but the numbers are staggering. Think about the job of the Internal Revenue Service and how much processing they have to do.
It is a phenomenal leviathan.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
And I'm glad to see they're back in the business of collecting income tax instead of being the enforcement arm for the Affordable Care Act.
Yeah, exactly.
The IRS was the enforcement arm for the Affordable Care Act.
Yeah, exactly. You didn't have the policy in place. You had to get a fine, and they had to fine the people. Yeah. So here's an interesting quote from the Secretary, the Treasury Secretary Stephen Munich. It says, "The IRS supports one of the largest and most complex business operations in the world, proudly serving millions of individual filers, small businesses, tax-exempt organizations, and large corporations. Technological innovation is vital to the IRS successfully executing its mission, including protecting taxpayer data, enhancing tax services to taxpayers, and ensuring the health of the nation's tax system."
Yeah, it's incredible. It only took them until 2019 to actually realize, hey, we need a long-term plan here.
Yeah.
So, considering the amount of information the IRS has at its fingertips, is, the potential for abuse and corruption is phenomenal.
Yeah, it is.
But they have birthdays and social security numbers.
Yep.
And addresses, former names.
Yep.
Married, filing status. It's incredible the amount of information the IRS has at its fingertips.
And as a PSA here, if you get a call from someone saying they're with the IRS, let's give them some legal, over the phone advice here. Don't take those calls. Don't give your social out over the phone. Those
Absolutely
are basic things. Unfortunately, sometimes people, who knows, maybe they're on medications, they're older, got early onset Alzheimer's and things like that, and they fall for these tricks. But you got to be careful.
Yeah, if the IRS wants to talk to you, they're not going to call you. They're going to send you a letter.
Yes.
It's going to say for the Internal Revenue Service, and we need to, quote unquote, talk.
We need to have a talk.
Yeah.
Here's our number. Call us.
Correct.
With a 6-digit extension.
Yeah, they're not going to call you and ask for credit card or you need to set up a meeting. They don't do that.
Right.
They don't have the manpower to do that.
Yeah.
They're going to send you a little mailer.
Here's something that's interesting. Cybersecurity. We talk a lot about credit improvement on the show, identity theft prevention and recovery. It says cybersecurity and data protections. So the IRS systems contain high volume of sensitive taxpayer data, as you were just mentioning. Later on down here, it says the plan introduces unparalleled data and refund fraud protections, protecting against approximately 1.4 billion cyber attacks annually. Man, that's a lot of people targeting us.
And you got to think, we were just talking about this actually. A lot of my students ask me about what they think the next war is going to look like. And I said, I don't think the next war is going to be sending missiles over here. I think the next war is going to be cyber attacks. They're going to make it impossible for us to get to the ATM, for us to, do anything, get on the internet. It's going to be an attack on the, on the electrical grid.
Yeah.
Things like that are really will just stop our economy.
Yeah.
And let's face it, the United States is the world's economy.
That's right.
So if you want to cripple us, that's an excellent way to do that. And they know that, but that goes right to what you were just talking about.
Yeah, it's interesting with the investments opportunity. You look at investment opportunity out in the world. You look at a lot of geopolitical stuff happening, the immigration, the different stuff, the China talks and the different issues there, Mexico. But still, the S&P 500, the Dow Jones Industrial, those are going strong. You still look at I think we're at, I forgot how many months of continued growth, 121 months, I think it said, of continued growth and expansion. So we're the cleanest shirt in the dirty laundry when it comes to investing, right?
Wow, that's a great quote. I like that. The cleanest shirt in the dirtiest laundry.
Yeah, the dirty laundry pile.
Wow.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
Yeah,
I'm going to use that.
So it's a way that what it breaks down to me is like, hey, there's other places I can invest, but you can't go wrong with the good old United States of America.
Absolutely not. Yeah. Listen, there's one thing I always said, that you can take the almighty dollar and go anywhere on planet Earth and they'll accept it.
Yeah.
And why is, and again, I talk to my students about this all the time. There's 3 words on all U.S. currency as to why anybody will take that money. And that is the words Federal Reserve Note.
Yes.
And those 3 words means that Uncle Sam backs that dollar.
Yeah.
And it'll pay it on demand.
Yep. Yeah, it's interesting. All right, when we come into our next segment here, I want to have some final thoughts. We're going to jump into our lightning round, our top tips, nuggets of advice, and our feel-good story of the day is a good one. A nonprofit organization plants 250 million trees, and it's a really cool story here. We love talking about the environment as well, and the way that this company's doing it. It's really cool. So stay with us right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, ConsumerQB.com.
This is Chris Voss, former FBI lead hostage negotiator and owner of the Black Swan Group, and you're listening to Consumer Quarterback Show, hosted by my friend Brandon Rhymes.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at ConsumerQB.com.
Ian Beckles here.
This is the Cannabis Podcast, powered by Trulieve on Radio Influence. It's an inside look and the scientific facts in and around the world of medical cannabis. Now, here is your host, Ian Beckles.
He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. You're listening to the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at ConsumerQB.com.
Welcome back. Brandon Rhymes here, your host of the Consumer Quarterback Show, powered by the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty, helping you win in your real estate negotiations. And we would love to help you with yours, buying, selling, or investing. We'd love to talk to you. This segment is brought to you by WholeBodyFuel.com. The official meal delivery service of the Consumer Quarterback Show is WholeBodyFuel.com. Convenient, healthy, organic meals delivered directly to your home or office. And what else do you have in this world if you don't have your health? They've also got the world-famous protein donuts, excellent meals, wonderful food delivered directly to you fresh, and it makes it real simple. This way you are not running around looking for your next meal. I love it when I get my meals delivered. I carry them with me to and from my commutes, and I have them with me, and I'm able to grab a quick meal on the go. And WholeBodyFuel.com. Check them out. Chef Brian, Adamo, Kevin, and the whole team do a great job over there. Longtime friends of the Consumer Quarterback Show. All right, every day we're going to tell you something positive here in our Feel Good segment. So we're going to tell you something good.
Tell me something good.
So a nonprofit organization plants 250 million trees. So they planted more than 250 million trees in the last 15 years, and they've accomplished this feat by hiring the poor. Eden Reforestation Projects is a nonprofit whose mission is to provide fair wage employment to impoverished villagers as agents of global forest restoration. They hired the poorest of the poor to rebuild natural landscapes destroyed by deforestation. The organization employs thousands of local villagers and provides them with the education and tools necessary to plant, grow, and protect to maturity millions of trees each year. In a groundbreaking reforestation announcement, CEO Steve Fitch announced the organization has planted 250 million trees throughout all of their project nations. And in a few years, we're going to be 250 million trees per year, Fitch says. Very cool. That's awesome. Love that story, Richard. That's pretty cool, man.
Yeah, it is. Listen, it's all about giving back, right?
Yeah. Yeah, especially with the, you talk about the oxygen, the different documentaries you watch online. The challenge was sometimes when they replant, they're planting monocrops, so it creates more of an opportunity for infestation with certain types of bugs or beetles, insects. So whenever it's a monocrop, it makes it easier for that to happen. But yeah.
Well, that's hopefully the people that know do it right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so in studio today, Richard Alexander, attorney Richard Alexander, Alexander Law, TrustAlexanderLaw.com is his website. And we're talking about things happening in the criminal defense, personal injury space. Those are his specialties. He's also an educator, as we talked about. And yeah, what else are you seeing out there, Richard? It's I've heard it said, it's not that we need new laws. It's that we need to enforce the current laws we have, right?
I hear that constantly, man. Yeah, it's not that we need new laws. Just enforce the ones that are already on the books.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it's funny how simple and basic that is, and yet we don't acknowledge that.
Let me ask you something.
It's already there. Why don't we just enforce the ones that are already there?
So when you look at certain states, like we mentioned California, New York, for example, they have some of these cities. They're called the help me out there with the city. It's where they allow crimes to happen and they don't deport or they don't turn the people over. I forgot what the sanctuary cities.
Well, yeah, right. Actually, Governor DeSantis just signed into a law that went into effect July 1st, where sanctuary cities would be illegal in the state of Florida.
So no sanctuary cities. What exactly does that mean?
Basically, it's a way to not cooperate with federal agencies.
Yeah.
And that's really what it is, that you won't tell that there's an illegal in your municipality or your county. So
it's crazy.
Basically what it is just not assisting federal agencies as far as, abiding by the law, by the federal law.
And then you had the story out in California that was so popular a year or two ago where the person committed crime, they didn't turn them over, they didn't cooperate, and they went out and killed more people, more innocent people. It was an illegal alien. So basically the sanctuary city says, we're not going to cooperate with the FBI.
Correct.
The ICE.
ICE, right. Typically ICE. ICE has, they're in the crosshairs right now for whatever reason. Like Border Patrol agents, they're in the crosshairs for whatever reason, because they're basically doing their jobs.
Yeah.
I don't know what the reason is behind it, but it's basically what you're saying is the person elected is agreeing not to cooperate with, federal law enforcement agencies. I don't know how to justify that. The law has to apply evenly, or it doesn't apply at all.
Right. So when you have a sanctuary city, that's not evenly.
Correct.
You're saying, I'm San Francisco. We're not going to cooperate with the rest of the United States, but yet they still take federal dollars.
Correct.
From, for all their other supporting.
Look, I'm sure everybody listening, or, the people in this room would love to be able to pick and choose the laws we want to follow. Mm-hmm. Today I'm going to go rob a bank. So it's bank robbery is not going to apply to me today.
Yeah.
I need the money, so that's what's going to happen to me. Yeah. But, that's not the way it works. If we want to abide by a constitutional republic, then we have agreed to follow the laws that are legislated and implemented.
So here's one that we teased a little bit earlier. We talked about the number one place where you have your own protection and your rights is your house.
Your house.
Protect the house, right?
Correct.
We had Thomas King on the show. He talked about the red flag rule or the red flag law.
Yeah,
It's interesting.
Marjorie Stoneman Douglas. Did he talk about the inception of it?
He mentioned what happened is that because he had a guy that called him up. He said, "Hey, I've got the police at my door. They're banging down the door. They're going to come in and take my guns.
Right.
What should I do?" He said, "Call your attorney. I'm not illegal, but did you do anything recently that may have invoked the red flag rule or law, whichever it is?" And he said, "Yeah, well, I broke up with my girlfriend." so apparently he and his girlfriend had some heated arguments, whatever it might have been. Maybe he said a threat, maybe he didn't. But without investigation, they come in and they can legally take your guns.
Yeah, well, it came out as a result of the Stoneman Douglas, the senseless, insane murders that took place down there. And they implemented what's called a risk protection order, an RPO. And it can only be implemented by law enforcement or law enforcement agencies. And basically, if they think you are a harm to yourself or to others, or a mental health crisis, or if you can be quote unquote violent, they can confiscate ammunition and weapons without due process.
Yeah.
Now, you will eventually be afforded due process, to have a hearing.
Yeah.
But this is, we're going to do this just in case.
Just in case.
And it's an infringement of many rights. There's no question about it.
Yeah. Pretty crazy when I first heard that. I didn't think that was possible, but so pretty much you get in an argument with someone, they can pick up the phone, call and say, "Hey, he said this," or I feel like he's threatened me over the phone, whatever.
See, again, and that's the part where, and we just talked about this before with the IRS. It's ripe for abuse, and that's the problem with it at the end of the day. And it probably is going to take either Florida Supreme Court ruling or United States Supreme Court ruling as to whether or not that law is constitutional.
Yeah, that's interesting. So I know Thomas. That's one that he says. We got to stand up for our rights on these things.
Actually, I know him. He's a good man.
Yeah, very cool. So kind of give us some parting words of advice here. We got attorney Richard Alexander on the show today. He can help you with personal injury law, slip and falls, car accidents, those types of things, and also criminal defense is another area of expertise. He's also an educator. What would you say is like in parting? What's a good parting word of advice for our listeners out there?
The one thing I preach about constantly, and that's because of both being an attorney and as an educator, is that knowledge is power. I put that on my website. I talk about it. I preach it. I tell people all the time, listen, if you just want to talk to me and call me and ask me a question, I'll be more than happy to stay on the phone as long as you need me to.
Wow.
To make sure that you're satisfied.
Yeah.
It's one of the reasons why I do Fox 13.
Yeah.
Those are all pro bono.
Yep.
But, man, that phone doesn't stop ringing.
Yeah.
And people just want to know if they're on the right track.
Yeah.
Or they're about to do something that they're going to regret.
Sure.
Preventive medicine.
Yep.
You go to the doctor so you don't have to go to the doctor.
That's right.
I feel the same way about preventive law.
I like that. Yeah, that's really good. One of the things I think comes up sometimes is when it comes to a potential DUI check. Hey, I had a light salad, or maybe I didn't eat it all. I had 4 or 5 drinks, but I feel like I'm okay.
Right.
Do you accept? Do you blow or not blow when in terms of the breathalyzer test?
Well,
right.
Well, I'm not really going to tell anybody anything as far as what they should or shouldn't do. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know if the Florida bar would actually appreciate that.
Right.
But I can tell you this: it's the most powerful piece of evidence for the state attorney's office, that 3-digit magic number. And that's the one thing they're going to hang their hat on.
Yeah.
Is that 3-digit magic number as to whether or not you are at the legal limit or over the legal limit. And the next thing is video, of course, because it puts the jury there as it's going down.
Yeah.
So I can't tell you this, that, in the state of Florida, of course, if you don't blow, it goes down as a refusal.
Yep.
And your license will be automatically suspended for 1 year.
Yep.
18 months on your second refusal, and the second refusal is a misdemeanor.
Wow. Huh.
So Florida got pretty serious about refusals.
Yeah.
Your first one's a freebie, but even that comes with, a nice little 1 year suspension. And then the second one is a crime.
Wow.
And then 18-month suspension.
Yeah.
And here's the other thing. The refusal on the second time, as far as a crime, it's a slam dunk for the prosecutor.
Yeah.
All they got to do is show up the prior.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's tough.
So if you beat the DUI straight up, they'll get you on the second refusal.
Yeah. Wow. Interesting stuff. Powerful stuff. Attorney Richard Alexander, thanks so much for coming in, dropping that knowledge on us, sharing these updates with the laws, and we appreciate you.
I think you know how much I love doing this, so thank you,
man.
Brandon.
Hey, my pleasure. And we want you to please go out there and consider committing a random act of kindness. So many ways that you can do that. You can pack up food or clothing, carry it with you to and from your commute, hand it to that person that you see in need, drop it off at a donation place, or maybe even donate some blood. There's a lot of ways you can be a force for good in the community. And we'll see you next time right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, ConsumerQB.com.
You've been listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. Whether it's real estate, consumer, or financial advice, let Brandon call your next play. Contact Brandon Rhymes at 813-670-7372. That's 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com. And join us next time for The Consumer Quarterback Show, weekday afternoons at 5 on AM 1380. The Biz.
Are you a real estate agent looking to take your business to the next level and supercharge your marketing? Hi, I'm Brandon Rhymes, owner of Platinum MVP Realty and host of the Real Estate Quarterback Show, syndicated radio and TV show talk program on iHeartRadio, 1025 The Bone, daily 5 o'clock drive time on 1380 The Biz, and our TV show is on WeBeam TV. We're looking for real estate agents that want to join our team and supercharge their marketing utilizing some of our innovative strategies. We utilize the Real Geeks platform, Facebook marketing, internet marketing, and a lot of the traditional methods as well. Postcard mailers mailed for you, postage, signage, business cards, all paid for by the company. Aggressive real estate splits and ways to help you win in any marketplace. We need you to go out, take applications, and work our plethora of leads that we're generating on a daily basis. Reach out by clicking the form below, and we'd love to have a confidential interview with you.